Hi Capricorn, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Capricorn risings, or if you have significant Capricorn placements in your chart and are needing a neutral energy to work with or balance within yourself, or if you're just feeling drawn to this reading for whatever reason and it's for you, there may be a message in here for you. So Capricorn, before we get started, there's just this interesting thing that happened right before I started recording, where this massive spider jumped up on the table beside me, which I'm actually seeing sort of as being kind of I feel like there may be somebody who's trying to rain on your parade, is kind of how it's feeling, because I feel like you're very close to achieving some sort of goal. I don't know whether or not this is something intentional that's being done, like they're intentionally trying to prevent you from moving forward or something like that, right? Like they're intentionally blocking you, or it could just be that it's like their own anxiety about a situation is preventing, or is unintentionally perhaps causing, they're transferring their anxiety onto you, is kind of how it's feeling to me. So I don't know if that resonates with you. Take it if it does. If not, it may come up again in this reading, but it's just there because it's kind of like there's something about somebody else's anxiety about a situation may be sort of like they may be saying things to you I don't even know. I don't know what an example of that would be, but it's just kind of like if they were in your position, they wouldn't choose to go in this direction, but for you that might be the correct way for you to go. It's just kind of like there's anxiety transference maybe that's happening. Anyways, so I'm going to start the reading. So at the bottom of the deck we have here the circle and the dream protector, the Emperor card. So this is, I'm just talking about rather than the word, rather than Emperor, it feels like the dream protector is what's important. Okay, sorry, there's something else about that spider energy, because it's kind of like I had this, it could be something like sorry, I'm just being cautious with with what I'm sharing. It could be something like that, it's like your dreams are protected, or there's an energy that's trying to perhaps caution you to protect your dreams here with the circle energy, because it's kind of like be careful who you share your dreams with. It could be something like that, because it's kind of like if you tell the wrong person about your dreams, it's like they could project their anxieties onto the dream, if that makes sense. Because it's something like, normally I'm not afraid of spiders, right? I don't mind spiders, especially if I'm outside, this is their domain. But this one was just so startling because it was big and it came out of nowhere and it jumps. And then it sort of disappeared under the table. And so I spent the next 20 minutes looking for it. Where it's kind of like, why am I looking for that when it's already gone? It could be something like that, where it's it's almost like a distraction. It doesn't necessarily feel like a distraction. It's more so something like fears or anxieties that are being stirred up that don't necessarily belong to you, right? Because it's I spent the next 20 minutes looking for it, worried that it was gonna fall on me or jump on me or something like that. Which is not normally something that I'm afraid of. So I don't know. Anyways, Capricorn, let's continue on. That's just the overall context. The first card out here we have is the arrow. which I love so much because it's talking about something that's about to land, right? Like some sort of intention that you've put out is about to land or is about to make contact. It was talking about like a point of contact, and it's like, I feel like this is something that you've been working on for a really long time, because you have here the Nine of Wands and the Ouroboros, which is the Wheel of Fortune. But this Nine of Wands talks about, always to me, talks about resilience, of like holding on to a specific truth or belief. It's like you've made sacrifices for this path or journey or thing that you believe in. And with the Wheel of Fortune, because this one talks to me about like manifestation, right? Like the perhaps rituals or not really a fan of that word, but like the tools that you use to manifest, perhaps, or just like the effort or working with time, maybe like an investment of time. With the 9, it's kind of like this like very strong peak energy, and you have so many Wands cards out. I pulled 10 tarot cards, and 6 out of the 10 tarot cards are Wands cards, so a lot of intention setting, and something is about to land is what this is talking about. And underneath those 2 cards, so the internal landscape for you is the Magician and the Lady of Wands. Sorry, I felt something on my leg. It's that spider energy, right? It's like you're so close to getting something that you want, or that something is about to arrive for you, but then there's like this anxiety energy that's lingering around, right? It's kind of like, so perhaps there's somebody who's trying to rain on your parade a little bit. But anyways, you're in this really powerful energy with the Magician and the Lady of Wands, which is all of this sort of like as above, so below energy. The Lady of Wands, to me, this one in this deck, which I love so much, is a very peaceful and tranquil energy, and like is really grounded, but also like meditates, that kind of thing. Like, so it's a very powerful, very patient, very heart-centered kind of energy, and you can see like the heart and the solar plexus are lit up here in both of these cards. And so very strong intentions that you've put out, Capricorn, and like something is about to land, something's about to make contact, especially with this combination, right? The wheel of time, the Wheel of Time, and then the Lady of Wands, which to me talks about like the things that keep you grounded, but also because of the 2 decks that I'm using today, both of them have the word mystical in it. So I feel like you are showing up as being very mystical, or having perhaps you're having a really mystical kind of experience in terms of your manifestations. But it's kind of like you still may not be seeing that exactly, because there may be sort of like how do I describe that? There may be something that's in your physical environment, like the spider, like an actual like thing, like object or person or energy, that's kind of like distracting you from your goal, is kind of how it's coming through. So it's kind of like, especially with these with the eyes closed, right? The Master of Secrets and the Lady of Wands. One second. As I was saying, Capricorn, there may be things in your physical environment that are almost like showing up or popping up as like a distraction, or just like it's distracting you from this sort of like very strong intention setting, because it's almost like pulling you out of a meditative state, or like, I lost my train of thought now. There may be a Scorpio energy around, but so it could be something to do with like a very significant transformation that could be causing anxiety, something like that. or you could be dealing with a Scorpio in some way. This Master of Secrets is a very Gemini energy. And again, with the secrets, right? Like being very cautious or mindful of what it is that you're saying to others about your dreams or about what it is that you're manifesting, because you don't want the wrong energy to sort of like put their anxieties onto you, if that makes sense. Anyways, Capricorn. Now there's Gemini energy coming in. So it could be like Mercury related, especially with the communication and the arrow. So you may be receiving communication about something that you've been manifesting. Okay, anyway, so the next two cards out, which are really lovely, you have the Journey. Because all of this mystic energy that's coming through, this is coming through as a very like inner journey kind of experience. Especially with like the owl here, the wisdom, and this sort of like resting position. So it could be with the Two of Wands here, again, more Wands energy, right? It could be something about like your dreams in general. It could be like dreams while you're sleeping, or like dreams like your goals, the things that you're trying to create. Because this Two of Wands from this deck talks about like plans that haven't manifested yet, right? Like that there's still work to be done, or it's like feeling of disappointment because of manifestations that haven't come through yet. It's really interesting, this card. It was reminding me of, for some reason, I don't know what the connection is for this message yet, but it's kind of like, it was reminding me of this, like this short story I wrote when I was a kid. There was like an assignment for school. We had to write a short story, and mine was about this cloud monster that lived in the sky. And he would lower this sort of like a ladder for the main character to go climb up, to go into the clouds, right? Like, so she could go up and down. I don't know why that story is coming up for you, Capricorn. I don't know what the connection is, but it could be something like perhaps journeying to a past energy, or like a childhood story of some sort that perhaps reveals some I don't know, subconscious sort of truth, is kind of how it's coming through. What's interesting, underneath the Two of Wands you have the Lord of Wands, which is the King of Wands, right? Which is coming up right next to the Queen of Wands. So there's something here about, so the Queen and the King of Wands, but I feel like this is kind of representing the cloud monster. It wasn't a monster. That energy in that story, the monster wasn't really a monster. It was just something unknown, right? Or something misunderstood. It wasn't actually a monster. It could be something like that, especially with the fear of like, sometimes we just are afraid of things that are unknown, or that are different or unexpected, or not part of our regular sort of experience. So it could be something like that with the fears. But the message that was coming through here with this is that this Lord of Wands, the elephant Ganesh, makes way for things, right? Like this energy can clear paths, right? But it can also block your passage or your path into something that may not be right for you. So it could be something like that. Like if there have been manifestations that haven't been working out, it could be that there's an energy that is intentionally perhaps trying to block you from moving forward, or that in time something may be becoming more clear, or that something is being like the way is being paved for you to move forward with the journey. But it kind of feels like there's it could also be something from your dreams is like manifesting down into the physical, right? Like some sort of manifestation is coming down from the clouds into the physical environment, right? Because the Lord of Wands, to me, the King of Wands, is someone who is very, very powerful in sort of their manifestations and their creational abilities, right? But there's some sort of interesting journey that's happening perhaps in your subconscious or in your dream state that has to do with like the path forward or something like that, which is really interesting. Okay, and then we have here the Beauty Way, which I love so much. So this card talks about like choosing to perceive the goodness or the beauty or the positive energy that's all around you, right? You can sort of choose to feed or focus on the beautiful or the positive or the high vibrational energy that's around you. Because it's kind of like there's this energy here. You have the Lady of Cups. So this is the only cups energy that you have in this entire spread, which is interesting because this is water, right? It's opposite from the wands energy. So it could be something like, but again, there's, with this, I always find this one so interesting because it's kind of like she's in a museum, but there's nothing there. And then you have the Fool card that came out underneath, right? So there's this pillar here. So it could be something like, especially with this Two of Wands, right? Like if you're feeling disappointed about perhaps something that's not there, right? Like a manifestation that's not present. It could be that there's something about that manifestation that might be not for you or not good for you or something like that. But it's like you are at this, the Fool energy, which is kind of like infinite possibilities, right? There's a significant shift coming for you, Capricorn, is what this is feeling like. Where it's kind of like you have some sort of infinite possibility, right? It's like something is perhaps, because you have this snake energy in both of these cards, right? There may be something coming in for you, or that's like the path is being cleared that allows for all of this infinite possibility, but it's kind of like maybe there's some sort of disappointment because it means that some other path is not being seen or experienced, right? I always see this as being like not seeing something that should be there, right? It's like you go to a museum but there's nothing on display. That's interesting. Or maybe that there was like some sort of experience but it wasn't what you expected, or it's like there is some sort of disappointment in that. But what's interesting is that I feel like this energy is kind of like something that's shifting or changing, or that you perhaps might be guided to sort of see the beauty in this energy as well, because this is the energy that I feel like doesn't match yours, right? Or this is the energy that's out of alignment, like feeling disappointed about a certain path or manifestation that you're not seeing, that's not currently present, but it's like what is present around you. There's some sort of, it feels like it's like buying tickets to a show, but when you get to the show, it's like not the right, it's like you showed up to the wrong movie or something like that, right? Like you you buy tickets to a movie that you want to see, but when you sit in the theater, the movie that's playing is like not the movie that you bought tickets for, right? It could be something like that. But it's like, is there something here, like perhaps there is something within that movie that you are meant to see, right? Like maybe there's a message in there for you, but it's kind of like if you're focused on the disappointment of that, it's not going to, you're going to miss it entirely, right? So it's kind of like there's perhaps some sort of like journeying where you're going into your own subconscious or your own dreams or your own past or something. Because with these cards, right, you have here the 5 of Wands and the 10 of Wands. This is the external, this is the internal. Both of these have this sort of like at sea energy, right? Like being out on the ocean with these fish. This one, these two cards, this 10 of Wands especially, always reminds me of The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway, which was for me such a frustrating read because it is a very short book, but it just seemed like there was if you haven't read it, it's basically this fisherman goes out and he catches this massive fish, this huge fish, but then on his journey back, when he's trying to bring the fish back home, it gets eaten by like sharks and all of that, and so he ends up with like none of the fish when he returns. So for me, it's just like a frustrating experience of like, what was the whole point? So it might be something like feeling like, what was the whole point of this journey, maybe, right? So this one could, 10 of Wands typically talks about burden or frustration, like carrying a lot of burdens. But this 5 of Wands, which comes through with such actually like a peaceful energy, right? Because it's kind of like there's beauty in this as well, is what the message is, which I know is so frustrating to hear. It's like because it feels like you're at the end of a journey, Capricorn, or you're about to step into something new, but it's like there might be disappointment or frustration about like, well, what was the whole point of that whole burdensome journey that I was just on, right? Like maybe there was some difficulty with the 5 of Wands, because that's typically a card about conflict or like difficulty or challenge. But this one's, there's so much peace in here, and it's kind of like with this fish as well, that there is a point to all of this, right? It's like, just be patient and watch the movie unfold in front of you. Whatever's happening around you, let it unfold, because there's probably some sort of message or clarity that comes from the end of this journey, whatever that is. Okay, Capricorn, I'm gonna leave it there. If that resonated with you, please consider subscribing, liking, or leaving a comment down below. If you're interested in personal reading, you can find my website in the description box. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.